good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is for you in this world. Blessings and optimism, my fellow followers, hopefully subscribers, and soul seekers. My name's Eviana Reyes. I'm here coming to you with a podcast using Anchor to bring a bit of hope and encouragement to the world. I'm hoping through sharing my lifestyle, I am using this space to allow myself to be vulnerable and open to you all, to the public, to the community, to whoever's interested in listening and learning and growing as a person. I'm here to let you know about Sting Queen Things, which is my business that I started. It is my superpower, my creation, my baby, my gratitude and my gift for healing and growing through all my life experiences, my past traumas, my hurts, my sorrows, my pains, my excitements, my joys, my everything. This podcast will be called Train Thoughts. And let me tell you how I came up with this name for this show. During the course of my life, let me start by explaining a little bit about me, okay? I am a veteran. I was in the military. I served in the United States Air Force for 15 years, 3 months, and 6 days. And yes, I am counting all the way down to the days because it's significant for me. It is who I was. It is a portion of my life. It is a huge chunk of my journey. It has grown me to where I am today, who I am today, my characteristics, my flaws, my strengths, my weaknesses, my insufficiencies, my everything, just me. I've learned so much stuff. I left for the military straight out of high school. I went to Parkland High School. I went to Parkland Elementary, then to Parkland Middle, and then Parkland High. So shout out to my toreros, to my mataros, okay? We were matadors, and those are the bullfighters, all right? So we're about that life, okay? And it's very fitting because it seems like going through life, I had to fight through the bulls, okay? And I know that there are plenty of people that know exactly what I'm talking about. You have to fight through the bulls of life, right? There are always, I like to call them now, to have a more optimistic approach, I like to call them or refer to them as opportunities of growth, okay? Maybe even chances to grow, or maybe even, something with an optimistic ringtone connotation to it. That way, I'm okay with applying it to my daily living. I've realized that words, they make a really huge effect on how I interpret things. And that might be something that you may look at within your own self. So anyways, joined the military, right? I was in, multiple things happened to me. I've moved to about 3 or 4 different let me see. Nope. I think I had 5 different bases that I was able to move to and from. I was stationed in Keesler, Mississippi before, and that is in Biloxi. I was stationed there through 2003, which was right after my second round of tech school, because it was a very long school. I served as a respiratory therapist. So that was the main part of my job. It fell under cardiopulmonary, and it's basically heart and lungs, saving lives, breathing machines, air support, ventilation, things like that. So I did that for 15 years, and it was amazing. It was very gratifying. It was satisfying. It was scary. It was exciting. It was traumatic. It was a whole lot of stuff. It was just a lot of things transpired in those 15 years, let me tell you. Okay, things that I never thought that I would experience in life, things that I had only seen in movies, because growing up in El Paso, Texas, it's like, okay, people don't even know where El Paso is. Maybe even some people drive through it, and that's how they know of El Paso. But I was born and raised in El Paso, Texas. So I was very sheltered, I had the whole Sunday to Sunday life, that would be church. I was in the church from Sunday to Sunday. My father was a minister. My mother was in the choir. We were in the choir, me and my sisters. So, it was that kind of lifestyle. That's how we grew up. And I grew up in a trailer park, and I'm very proud of that. I love trailers. I think they're cheaper, they're more efficient, they're larger in space. So, I was stationed in Mississippi, and what changed me from that duty station was when Katrina hit, Hurricane Katrina. For whoever remembers that, I was there for that. And it was interestingly crazy for me because I had just returned from a deployment from Balad, Iraq. Not even less than 6 months prior to Katrina. So I came from one really traumatic experience, because that was back in 2002. Nope, 2000 and... When did I deploy? I'm sorry, let me think. I deployed at the end of 2004, the beginning of 2005. So I got back from my deployment towards the end of May 2005. And then Katrina hit. I can't even remember the date because my brain, with it being a trauma of mine, my brain has erased some of that memory. So I can't remember the date that Katrina hit, but I was on shift because I was respiratory therapy. So I had to experience at 19 years old my first hurricane, which I thought was very interesting when I was staring out the window, because it didn't look like it was wreaking havoc. But then when it was over and I walked outside the hospital and I'm trying to find my car and make sure that it's not floating with the sea and that it's, free of fish, I could see how much shifting the hurricane had done. And it was very sad. It was very traumatic. It was a lot for me to take in. I had never experienced that. And people went out there, they were going outside, automatically turning on their cars, you guys, and their cars were blowing up. People would open their doors and water would just come rushing out their cars, and my savior, my higher power, he protected my stuff. My car was good. Like, it was such a blessing. So I was in Mississippi for a while, and then from there I got orders to Travis Air Force Base, which is in California. That is smack dab in the middle, in between Sacramento on one side, 30 minutes away, and San Francisco on the other side, which is another 30 minutes away. So I was right dead in the center. I loved it. I had so much fun there. I really did. I met a lot of awesome people. I experienced a lot of things. I had my first child there from all of the things that I was experiencing. And he's amazing. I love him to death. My oldest son, my only son. And he's such a blessing to me. So, I told you a little bit about Iraq. I didn't really go too much into detail, as you can see. I tried to skip over that, but let me be the example and not avoid that part of me, because it's a part of me. So I was deployed to Iraq not long after I had just finished my tech school. So I was a new respiratory therapist. I had just gotten my 5 level, which is basically you have levels of certification of how much time you've put into your job. And I was a 5 level, which is right above I just finished my training. And someone decided that they didn't want to deploy, so they came up with this huge story about whatever. I'm not even going to go into that because it's neither here nor there at this point. I obviously still feel a way about it. Decades later, I'm going to need to grow through that. Pray for me, y'all. But during this deployment, I was exposed to things that I never thought in my life that I would ever be exposed to, like bombs and things going off. And forgive me if you're listening and these are trigger words for you. They are also triggers for me, so I'm just going to work through them quickly just to give you this brief description of me. So hang tight or fast forward through this part. There were bombs. I ended up being a victim of sexual assault. I was dealing with a lot of traumas and healing a lot of very, very young people. I was 19 years old, like I said. I'd never seen so much blood in my life. I'd never seen blood outside of the body in this amount in my life. I'd never seen missing limbs. I'd never heard people crying out for their mothers with so much pain and conviction, and it's very traumatizing. It took a lot, but it was also very rewarding because I helped some of these soldiers, these airmen, these people, these heroes make it back to their families or make it back to their next mission. So I loved my job to death. I loved it. So that's a little bit about Iraq, okay? And then here came Keesler. So Katrina hit, and I went from there to Travis. I had my first child. And then from there, I went to Phoenix, Arizona. Well, it's near Phoenix. I was stationed at Luke Air Force Base, which is in Glendale. And that is about 30 minutes from Arizona. So if you notice, I usually love to live in the suburbs. I don't know if you've picked up on that, and I don't know if that has a lot to do with how I grew up, but I love the suburban life. I love being, a few minutes away from the city, but a few minutes still into the country to where I can still see my animals, because I love my animals. They just bring me so much joy. And so I was there for 8 years, which was the longest I've ever been at a base in my life. But it was wonderful. I had 2 more children there. I had also experienced some traumas of 3 different miscarriages there, which was very heartbreaking. My last child that is still here living with us is now, she just turned 7. And before her is her other sister, who is 8. And then I also have a daughter. Well, I call her my daughter. She's my stepdaughter, who is, I have so many children, who is 11, I believe. She's turning 12. So yeah, that's when I created also my very blended family and met my husband. And from there, my husband is also in the military. He serves in the Air Force as well. So we're both kind of into, community service and trying to serve and help other people in our country. So from there, we got orders. He had orders to Ramstein, Germany, and I had orders to Landstuhl, Germany, which Landstuhl, Germany is the Army side of the hospital, and Ramstein is the Air Force side of the hospital. So I got attached to an Army unit when I moved to Germany. Germany was a very, very interestingly beautiful experience where I was able to practice my life gift of photography, and I took so many pictures and sceneries of different things, and you can find that on my website on stingqueenthings.org. You can also order pictures and prints, and you can get them in any sizes. You can view it on your wall, different things like that. Those just looking at stuff in nature, things, trees, and the beautiful colors, the flowers in the sky, brought me so much tranquility and peace, because it was during that time when I also experienced a break-in, and we got our house broken into, and that started exacerbating a lot of my conditions that I had worked so hard to get under control when I lived in Arizona. So I skipped that part, I guess. So in Arizona is when I started really kind of having my first, I guess it's not really my first, it was another main shift in my life where I had to learn how to survive. And in my survival mode is when I met my husband and all that other stuff. And I was also introduced to many of the psychological diagnosis conditions that I have today. It started back in 2008, 2009, and from then on, my body started creating a bunch of different ways, pathways, and escape routes from my body to release stress, to release pain, to release the tensions and traumas and negative things and aspects and experiences in life that I had allowed to attach to myself, because either I hadn't processed some stuff or just the experience of it, And I'm sure everybody's got somewhat of an idea of what I'm referring to, but these different occurrences can create different shifts in your life. It can cause you to be who you are. It causes you to respond and react a certain way. It causes you to speak to people a certain way. It causes you to treat people a certain way. And my body was I think my body was just done. My mind was done. And it's kind of like my mind went on this huge nervous breakdown to where it just started showing as convulsions in my body, almost like seizures. And that's what I got diagnosed with. They didn't have a name for it at that time. Now, because of the break-in in 2016, when I was in Germany, that is when I got the actual medical terminology, which is a new thing, which was conversion disorder. And there's a lot of bad stigma attached to conversion disorder because a lot of people don't really know much about it. And when you're ignorant to the knowledge of things, it can create a lot of doubt, understandably. But at the same time, it can also create such a doubt to where it can cause you to question the character or the mentality or the credibility of the person that is experiencing these very real, unsolicited reactions from our body. We don't ask for this. Towards the end of this year, in July, when I got one of my last mental health diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, which there's so many different aspects to that. There's not just one thing, and I know there's a lot of stipulations and connotations when it comes to a lot of mental health issues. And I would just say, if you are one of those people that doesn't believe and you're listening to this, or you're just wanting to know more, educate yourself. Google it. Look it up. There are so many people going through these things now. More and more and more people are experiencing these psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, or PNES is what it's short, so you don't have to say that whole thing. That's what it stands for. And I was placed in this program. I volunteered to be in this outpatient program that is a year long, called dialectical behavioral therapy. And it's a therapy that they use for people with borderline personality disorder, but it's a program that is versed in training skills or teaching you life skills, social skills, emotional regulating skills to process the things that you've been through in life. So if you've been through traumas of abuse, if you've been through traumas of neglect, if you've been through traumas of being placed in uncomfortable positions or molestation or whatever, if you've experienced even just chronic pains and sorrow and just need to know how to process, even if you're all the way down just sad, because it doesn't have to be some huge thing, just everyday emotions, regular emotions. And I will talk about the word regular when I refer to emotions a little bit more later, because it's very important that we realize and recognize. I had to realize and recognize through DBT that all of our emotions are there to serve a specific purpose for us. Whether we like them or not, whether we like how they make us feel or not, they're there for a reason. And if we can pinpoint the reason we're feeling those emotions, or the reason why those emotions are coming up, then it helps to create a path to follow, a guide, if you will, on a better way to respond to it, so that we're not walking around with past hoarded traumas, with closets full of past pains and breakups and divorces and deaths and sorrows and maltreatments and unacceptance and all of that stuff. That's what Trained Thoughts is about. I will be sharing my journey, my life through this podcast. I will be sharing some of my experiences. I will be making myself open to you guys so that you can see someone going through these everyday life experiences, someone who had a career, who is now not serving in the military, who's trying to figure it out, who's now starting her own business and working on her own path, who didn't let the past pains and traumas reflect her future. And let me tell you right now, guys, it is not easy. It has not been an easy journey. It has not been an easy task. But I promise you, if you do the work, or you can even do some of it. If you don't even want to do all the work, you can do some of it. If you do some of this work, some of the stuff, if you emulate some of the stuff that I'm telling you, I'm trying to lead by example, because I feel like if I can learn to do it, you can learn to do it. And then together we can all get through this challenging life. Maybe one at a time we can all heal from the inside out. Maybe one at a time we can start having a brand new perspective, a fresh way of thinking, a different way of processing, because the way that we've been doing it hasn't been working. Because if it had been, maybe you wouldn't be subscribing. So it's nice. I congratulate you. Let me be the first. Congratulations on your healing. Congratulations on making it this far in your journey. Congratulations for your hope, for an open mind. And congratulations for becoming a member of the Trained Thoughts podcast. Hey. Together, we will heal, we will grow, we will lean on each other, we will encourage each other so that we can make a better environment for our kids, for our family members, for ourselves. So we can live the life that we deserve to be living. So, strap on your armor. Get whatever you got to get ready for this battle, because we're about to get this. And it's going to be great. It's going to be validating. It's going to be wonderful. I'm excited to start this journey with you guys. I thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for signing up on my website and for checking me out. There is much more products, stuff to come. I will be having my herbal teas, my essential oils, my art, the photography, and my acrylic paintings, as well as any kind of peer support or things that, ways that I can reach you that might help you to get through the next second of your life. Blessings and optimism to everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in to Trained Thoughts. Jump on this train of reshaping your mind, and have a good day.